it's Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story Podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hi, it's Ivy Slater, and welcome to this episode of Her Success Story. I'm very excited for this episode and this series actually that we're kicking off for the month of January. This series is all about authors and writers and books that are out there, and we have some amazing authors coming on. To start off, I thought I'd share with you that many of you know or might not know that I am an author. My first book is called Conquering Your Fear of Money, A Woman's Guide to Business Success. And that book is very much a step-by-step guide and workbook on starting a business and the best practices around it. The next book I have coming out is actually launching on February 12th. And this book is called Raising the Bar, Your Guide to Relationship-Driven Business Success. And this book is something that's been bubbling inside me. So I thought I'd take today's episode and share a little bit of why I felt it was so important to finally get it out there. Having been in business over 30 years easily and being a business owner 25, I look back at my career and I truly knew and know in my heart of hearts, my success that I have acquired and what I've been fortunate to celebrate has been the result of building fabulous relationships. And when I started mapping out and started teaching a few years ago about relationship-based sales and what it means to actually, when you build, not just build a pipeline, but to build the long-lasting relationships to have a client for life, and the lifetime value of a client are the two different ways to look at that. And I realized how important that is. And I was watching other business owners, other salespeople run around the various cities and places in this country and further, kind of shaking hands and kissing babies with, I need to meet more people. I need to expand my pipeline. I need to meet more people. What can I do on online marketing? I have to get bigger exposure, grander, bigger. And I started watching it and said, hold on a second, people. There's another piece here. And there's a really important component here. And that component is the piece that says, what about all the relationships I've established over the years? What about all the people I've touched? All the people I know? Am I actually keeping up in communication with them? Do they actually know what I even do in this day and age? Do I know what they're doing? How can we be assets to one another? Before I get some more business cards to file away in my CRM system and try to remember who these people are, why don't I go back to the heart of hearts and actually meet people and reconnect with people that I've known for years and dig deeper into those values of relationships. So this is how I started learning this. So back in the day, I've shared before in other content episodes that I owned a printing company in New York City, and I was in the industry for over 20 years. I'm going to take you back to the day I started in printing. I had come from working at a corporate events and catering company for several years. Two sisters, still in conversation and connection with them. We still connect, if it's online, offline, a variety of ways, get together once in a blue moon for drinks, etc. And I told them, in all honesty, I loved what I did. It was time for me to move on because I thought in a few years I was going to start a family. Excuse me. And corporate events, catering, my role was a 7-day, 7-night week. So I was in sales at the events, which were evenings and weekends. I was running the operations on the inside during the week. That did not leave a lot of time to think about being a mom. So I said, somehow I need to get a job that might not be a 9-to-5 job, because I never really looked at success as being a 9-to-5 situation. But get a job that has more boundaries around it, that at some point I could be a mom in the next few years. I had an opportunity and went to work for a printing company. I'm going to kind of skip over all the background in that transition. That will be a story from another content episode. I showed up and I knew nothing about the print industry. Absolutely nothing. I didn't know what 4-color process was, what black versus black and white, how to sell this or anything else. And they gave me some training, thankfully. And then I was like, okay, I had a small salary, and most of my money was based on commissions, as very often in sales it is. So I was like, okay, I got to make some money. I was used to making really good money, and I like nice things. So I was like, okay, I got to I got to do this. I got to make some money. So I go back to them and I said, okay, I have some nuts and bolts enough to at least like talk and with some relevance about printing. Where do I get started in sales here? And I was told, well, there's the Yellow Pages or the pavement. Pick one. I was like, okay, so like, you mean I should get out there and walk the streets of New York? Now, back in the day, the large buildings had no security, so you literally can go floor to floor and try to get past the receptionist to meet some people or build a relationship with the receptionist to get the name of the person you need to connect to. Or you could cold call through the Yellow Pages, advertising agencies. Oh, wow, that sounds fun. So I was like, okay, Ivy, there's got to be a better way. I have to be able to do this differently. So I picked up the phone and I called my old boss. And I said, listen, I want you to know, and I want you to know up front, I'm complete transparency. I'm going to call all the old clients that I worked directly with. And I'm working for a printer now, and I'm going to ask for within their companies who they can connect me to and introduce me to start building my book of business as a printer. And the owner of that company, her name was Jocelyn, said, Ivy, what did you think you were going to do? Walk Manhattan with a sandwich sign asking for business? I was like, phew. So I hung up, I picked up the phone. It was the summer. I had just done the graduation party for Columbia University's business school as one of the events. I called my contact there, said hello, chatted. Oh my goodness, how wonderful the event, and the champagne and the desserts, and went on and on. Yes. And say, oh, by the way, I've changed jobs. They're like, oh, you're no longer working with this company? I said, well, I've changed actually careers, and this is what I'm doing now. Oh, wish me a lot of luck. I said, by the way, I know Columbia's business school produces a good amount of print materials from brochures to catalogs. Would you be open to just introducing me to the right people to speak to? I'm not asking for them to give me business. I would just like to meet them and see what they do each year and learn more. Funny thing happened. One of my first accounts ended up being Columbia University's business school. So the ability to tap on the relationships already in our existence has always been incredibly powerful to me. In writing my next book, it's actually called Raising the Bar, Your Guide to Relationship-Driven Business Success, was really hunkering down and following the journey of the relationships I've cultivated over 30 some odd years in business and how they've come to fruition. And many of them are still present in my business, in my world, in my life today, and are still paying one way or another dividends to me. How do you do that? How do you cultivate it? So I thought in the book, I'd share the stories so you could see the value and then give you the tips and tricks so you can do the same thing. So it's not as much as a workbook of my first book, but it does have a workbook component at the end. And it has the journey of how the relationships developed from meeting and how they expanded, how one thing touches another. I spent some time and really dug and said, oh, and through this person, I also met this, and I did business with this person, and then I did this business with this person, and drew those pictures, drew those trees, as I refer to them, with all the amazing branches. And when you start totaling up the value of the branches and the people you touch, meet, and build business with, the numbers and the successes become exponential. This is the heart and the reasons of why I was drawn to it's really time to get this book out. Because I'm all about getting out and networking and meeting new people. And then I specifically go to old networking events just to reuse it as a touch point to reconnect with people who I already know. I'm all about, we have a strong presence on LinkedIn and Instagram, Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on a lot of the social media streams. Yet I start the relationship or I create a touch point there, and then I want to build that deeper relationship. I might use and see somebody celebrating something and use that opportunity to touch point and congratulate, wish people good wishes, congratulate somebody who just had a baby that I know, see somebody has conquered the next milestone or opened something new or developed something new. Continue and touch on these relationships. So one of my tips in the book I'll share with you. Facebook is a fabulous platform to stay connected to people early in your life. So I don't know if you are, but many, many people are that I've spoken to are connected to that high school platform on Facebook, right? And that's where you see, oh my goodness, that's what this person is doing out here. And oh, they're a grandparent, they're a mother, they opened a new business. Oh, this one is celebrating this milestone and an anniversary. And it's lovely. And of growing up with these people, we send condolences when parents might pass, and great wishes, wonderful things happen. Last year, I had the opportunity to be in Los Angeles for most of the month of February on business. Flying out to LA, I posted on Facebook with a selfie. It was rather geeky. On my way to LA, fortunate to be working here for the month of January. So excited. It was great. Well, as I posted it on Facebook, somebody else commented and said, oh my God, you're coming to LA. I've been living here for a long time, reconnected with me. So funny thing is, we end up scheduling drinks. She was an attorney. I do an enormous amount of business with attorneys. And then was currently stepping into a position of running a nonprofit. Drinks turned into dinner. We reconnected and had the ability to stay in touch. And has business closed? No. Do we have a relationship? Yes. When I go back to LA and I possibly do a launch party for the book, she'll be invited with some friends. Opportunity is everywhere, and opportunity is in the relationships that already exist in your world. Remember to cultivate them and expand them on a daily basis. Stay in touch. That's where social media is a great asset. Stay in touch. Wish people great wishes. Think forward. Use your relationships as an opportunity to achieve all your successes, your goals, and your dreams. See you next time on the next Her Success Story. Thanks for joining me here today. Please feel free to subscribe, leave a review, let us know what interests you, what you want to know, what you want to see, so we can deliver it to you. Thanks.